Welcome to the Transform Tales, the podcast where we explore the power of change in our lives, our work, and the world around us. I'm your host, Brooke Addis, and in each episode, we'll be chatting with inspiring individuals about the pivot points that changed everything: career leaps, personal breakthroughs, community revolutions, and the tools and technology that made it possible. We're diving into real stories behind transformation, turning your what ifs into what's next.
Hi, Olivia. Thank you for coming on.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, thrilled to be doing this. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, I'm an entrepreneur and I have built the future of fashion. I know that's so bold, but for almost 10 years, I've been working extensively to figure out how do I incorporate technology into our manufacturing system so that women have access to affordable, stylish clothing that actually fits. Um, and I finally figured it out.
Mic drop. We'll click that. Yeah, that's perfect. Um, that's incredible. And it is bold, but I love that you have not strayed away from it because 10 years is a lot of dedication.
It is.
And you're now seeing light at the end of the tunnel for the things you've been working on, which is amazing. Well, when you think back to when you were little, maybe, 5, 6, I don't know what age we start thinking about our first career.
Mhm.
Was this it? Fashion entrepreneur? Or what was the plan?
I feel like there was so many different things that I wanted to be growing up. Like, every year it was something different,
Mhm.
which honestly explains a lot about my entrepreneurial mindset, but I didn't really figure that out until I was, like, on this journey. It was about, like I was maybe, like, 23, 24 when, everything kinda crashed and burned. I dived high he bleh. I dived head first and ended up getting burned, but it was through that process that I was like, "But I love this still." Like, this is hard, this hurt, but at the end of the day, like, I am just more motivated to continue now, and so I learned I was an entrepreneur through that. But when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut, I wanted to be a scientist, I wanted to be a fashion designer more times, so, like, every other year, I'd come back to being a fashion designer,
Okay.
and I think some of my childhood experiences definitely was foresight to today.
Yeah.
I have, like, the most wonderful memories with just, like, my family giving me gifts that were fashion-based. I had, like, little cardboard cutouts, I had Polly Pockets, the Barbies, and I was always fashion-oriented.
Yeah.
I never really played with them as heavily as I dressed them.
You were like, "Okay, get in line, we're going to the fitting room."
Yes.
Yeah. I love that. Cool. Oh my god, I forgot about Polly Pocket.
Right? I have 3 boxes. I have literally so many.
I love them. They had, like, the little tinies, and then they got bigger, and they changed with their like, rubbery, stretchy clothes.
Yes.
And both were fun, but, like,
Yes.
very interesting how that changed. Oh, awesome. Great. Well, tell us where you started your career then, before you jumped in and was like, "You know what? What I should do is take on the entire fashion industry because women deserve better."
Yeah.
What were you doing before that?
College. Yeah. I was studying at Kent State University. I was a double major in fashion design and fashion merchandising. And then I studied abroad my junior year. And during that, I decided to drop the design side just because I could see that my efforts were kind of going more on the business side.
Okay.
And so I wanted to put all my time and energy into that. And also, I realized like I wanted to explore. I wanted to enjoy all these cultures that I was having the opportunity to see. And so I had the experience of forfeit my sophomore year of college and immediately was like, "There's an opportunity here. I don't know what it is, but I know that there's something here." And luckily with Kent State and their study abroad program, I was able to see so many technologies that were being built for the fashion industry and, just not really being utilized. And so again, I saw another piece of that puzzle, like, there is something here. Came back my senior year, had the same problems, and, just decided to dive in. And so I chose to go bartending,
Okay.
for a while because it was the easiest, like, 9 to 5, I can work on Olive, and then I can, like, 4 to whatever, I can bartend and pay my bills. And it worked for a while, for sure. And I was able to network like crazy. I was able to do a lot I had a lot more flexibility, basically.
Mhm.
And then COVID happened.
Oh. What a time.
Yes, and then just throughout that, it was, like, bartending jobs, retail jobs, things like that.
So you were always pretty adjacent to the space that
Yeah.
you're now fully perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
And I made sure I was, though. Like,
you
I
knew
put
it.
myself in those places because I saw, like, I need a little more experience, I need more people, I need more resources. I could just tell that I wasn't in the place where I was supposed to be. I wasn't in the environment I was supposed to be an industry shifting founder. So I put myself in those places. I found the doors, I kicked them down.
I love that. So when did Olive come into creation then?
2017, 2018.
Okay.
It was called something different at the time, but it
Okay.
was the same goal the whole time. It was always, I need to figure out fit. I know that there's a way that we can modernize and innovate in this area. And I think the name Olive was probably around 2019,
Okay.
2020. When I was like, let me create a full brand around this because I know how crucial a brand is, especially in fashion.
Yes.
It's such a competitive industry if you don't have a brand that's like connecting. Um, so I worked with some brand consultants and they helped me design it.
Well, I remember the first time we ever met and you did your introduction of who you are and like what you do. I'm pretty sure we were at IW. Pretty sure we were at IW.
Yeah.
Almost positive. And you explained how women's fashion has been designed in the original template, and it's something I've never forgotten.
Yeah.
So I think what you stated at the beginning of this about how you making bold moves, I mean, tell everyone who's listening, like, what the blueprint is right now.
It's literally a 1930s male fisherman. The sizes that we choose from as women is loosely based on a 1930s male fisherman. Yeah. During World War I, the women started taking positions in factories for the men who were going away to war, and pants weren't a thing at that time. And so they were all wearing skirts, but that's a huge safety hazard in a factory. And so the government basically needed to fit them for something. And so they took apparently the closest thing they had to a worker's jumpsuit for women was a male fisherman's jumpsuit.
Okay.
And they ran testing around 1,500 women that were all white, and they were all 18 to 22.
Very specific.
Yes.
Tiny market.
Very tiny market. Never had children, never married. You know, it was a very, very specific market, and, like, that's not the reality of women at all.
No.
And so what happened again, going into, like, ready to wear and the global infrastructure of fashion in, like, the 60s, 70s, there was, like, a light suggestion from the government on how to update it, but it wasn't very, like, fashion had already done its own thing. Each company started developing their own patterns. They started to basically create the fashion around the consumer that they had at that time because it was just too far in to the development. So they didn't really listen to that suggestion. And so that's how you go to one store, you're a 2, you go to another store, you're like an 8.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wish we did everything in, like, actual measurements,
Yeah.
which is a bit of your goal
Yeah.
for it to be exacting to the person.
Yeah.
And not make the person try to fit into what they're wearing.
That's literally the whole point. It's all data-based. It's the whole system is made to be as convenient, accessible, and empowering as possible because women deserve better. Like,
Yes.
fashion was literally created by women for women, then it was taken over, and here we are. So, we need to get back to our roots, which is the feminine body, you know? Yeah.
Which it's good. And, we've lived through a bunch of different changes in fashion where we've seen entire fashion houses rebrand and be resurrected. Like Coach has done a really good job with that, which is
Yeah.
crazy to see. I remember like being so into that in high school and then
Mhm.
they're putting out these beautiful stuff again. And that's something so simple, but actually focused on the people who use these things and the functionality and like you said, the empowerment.
Yes.
I personally have wider shoulders than I would like, which, every woman or man for that matter has the one thing they don't like about themselves. And that's something I hate. Like I know sometimes when I see a shirt, I'm like, that won't fit me the way I want it to because it is made that one way and that's the only way it comes.
Exactly.
I hate that.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many in the 10 years that I've been doing this, almost 10 years, I've spoken with upwards of 1,000 women. And the amount of times that I hear a comment like that, it just pushes me forward. That's literally what's fueled me this entire time. Is every single time I hear a woman say, "Well, that just wasn't made for me," or "I stopped wearing pants because it was just too much effort. She only wears dresses now," or like, "Oh, I just have a weird body." I'm like, "No, you don't. Like, your body is perfect. Your body is exactly what it's supposed to be in whatever phase of life that you're in. Whether you're postpartum, whether you're like maybe in our mid-20s,
Yeah.
whenever you kind of your body starts to change multiple times over a course of a woman's life.
Yeah.
And you deserve to have that accompanied. not squeezing to fit into it,
Yes.
right?
What I forget what movie it is, 27 Dresses or something, where they're like, "You don't alter Vera to wear or you alter your body to fit Vera." Oh, Devil Wears Prada.
Yes, yes, yes.
And it's like, no.
No.
Great line, but
Great line, great movie.
yeah.
Excited for the second one to come out. I'm stoked. But
Yeah, not in that time, get it, but not what we're going
yes.
for now. Well, in this journey that you've been on, we're talking about a decade, which is a lot of time in business. How has success changed for you? I'm sure when you were in college, it was like, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to be like, what's the business plan or where am I going to work? And now that's really different, especially because you have some big milestones coming up. So please share with us, like,
Yeah.
how's it changed?
Truthfully, success has never looked like a 9 to 5 job for me.
Okay.
Never been a corporate girl. And not because I don't want to be, it's never felt right. Like anytime somebody has asked me that question, especially when I was young, that was never the vision that I had in my head. And I think it was never super clear for me just because it took me a while to find like I'm an entrepreneur. Like I'm born to do this.
Mhm.
And so success for me today is more so like the small wins. I kind of have to look at it like one step forward, another step forward, next step forward, and even if it's minor. And so like this event on Saturday, small step forward. That's a huge success for me because it's building a lot of traction, and that'll help me get to my next stage.
Yep.
So success is really it's pliable.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's a good way to
it
look at
should be.
Yeah.
I think too many people have this idea in their head and then they get disappointed. Whereas like, no, I'm staying clear on my goal and I'm just taking steps forward and I'm taking those wins and trying to just feel that success as it comes. I have the big goals. I have the far north point. I have all the business things that I need for the business. But at the end of the day, my version, my value doesn't come from that success. It just comes from those wins.
That. And that's such a good way to position it too. Like any incremental movement forward
Yes.
is success.
Exactly.
Because tomorrow could be the last day that you're doing this.
Exactly.
We could have another pandemic or something horrible that puts a halt. Gosh, well, that is a question that I like to ask for anyone who was founding something through that time. What were the big challenges that came out of that time?
Yeah.
Like, you're definitely working in a space where you need to be with people, in front of people, like measuring people. Like, what did that do for things you were working on? Obviously, that was earlier on, but still.
Yeah. So Olive started at a much different point because I was so young and like I said, I dove in head first. I truthfully was just trying to get started.
Okay.
So I made a 3-piece suit. I started in a place that was comfortable for me, which was fashion. So we developed a 3-piece suit. We developed it in Turkey, beautiful fabric, but I did extra small to extra large. And that was really just my effort to let me get close to the customer. Let me start selling something. Let me just get into this space. And then as I sell this suit, then I can use that to fund the technology and the research behind it. I placed the order about 2 weeks before COVID happened.
Mm.
So that all kind of just, I had a fair amount of sales actually, and like mostly in the blazer because people still were doing Zoom. So I actually had a fair amount of sales in the blazer, but it just totally wrecked that traction that I was hoping to get. And then unfortunately life kind of just kept hitting me down.
Yeah.
So as kind of life was building back up again, I ended up getting fired from my day job, and then I was in a car accident, and my car got totaled, and I had to get a new car whenever all of our systems were it was just scarce, inventory,
Yeah.
and, I had some health issues that started developing, and I was trying to figure out at the time. So, it was just, like it was a very tough time. COVID kind of was a slingshot into it, but I also everything happens for a reason, and I'm better for it because I had the time to sit down and realize I have a lot of work to do to be the founder that can do this, and I did it. I did the work.
So it was a good redirect then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Horrible at the time.
Yeah. In the moment, but in hindsight,
Yes.
a lot was learned, things changed, all have evolved,
Yes.
got better.
Yes.
Good. That's good. What has been the most uncomfortable thing about being a founder for you?
Mm.
Because we all know there's the imposter syndrome, but like what's the one thing that you can speak to that you think really just
Actually, this is a very perfect question for right now,
okay?
and I'll be as vulnerable and honest as I can be. But I've had a lot of discomfort in this phase. And I've had a lot of trouble figuring out why. Like I'm fine with it. I love change. I love innovation. I'm always testing boundaries. I'm always doing something wild. Like I jumped out of a plane in Switzerland. I went bungee jumping in Bangkok.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a lot of fear. So it's really baffled me why I felt so uncomfortable, and I've had trouble adjusting to it in this phase. And I think the hardest part about being a founder and why I'm having trouble in this phase is you're always having to stretch your capacity. You're always having to stretch your mental. Like, how much more can I handle? Because I have to. And especially where I'm at right now, I'm technically still a one woman show. So I'm leaning into every resource, friend, support, community that I have, but it's still like, how much further can I stretch? That discomfort is very hard to deal with.
You're
Because
still a human.
yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, mentally, I can handle it. I can push myself. But if you can't tell, I'm a little congested right now because I pushed it a little too far. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
You're like, I actually needed that nap.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably the hardest part. That's the hardest discomfort to adjust to. Everything else is, discomfort's part of the game,
Mhm.
but that's the only discomfort that I've had a little bit more trouble kind of adjusting to.
Thank you for sharing that. I
Yeah.
think that's really insightful too. And at least you're aware of it.
Yes.
You're like, in any other aspect of my life, this would be fine.
Yeah.
In this exact moment of what's happening, it's not. Well, I know technology's played a huge part in what you're doing.
Mhm.
Did you know from the beginning that that was going to be the case, or has that also evolved?
I knew that it was gonna have a part.
Okay.
I didn't know what part. But when and I'll share that small story with you. Whenever I was in college and I had the problem around fit, Kent has a wonderful textile lab. So they actually had a lot of technologies that were being built for the industry in-house. So they had a robotic knitter, they had a 3D body scanner, laser technologies, and I had the opportunity to see a lot of these technologies. And so I knew early on, I'm like, these play a part in some way, shape, or form. They're just not being connected correctly.
Mhm.
And they're not being connected to the customer correctly. So I knew that they'd play a part. I didn't know what part they would play though. Now I do, but
That is our secret.
yes, that's the all of magic, as I like to say.
What's the reception been like? I mean, I know just thinking back to the first time I met you, like I never forgot that piece of information you shared about like this is what you're wearing was designed off of like over a year ago.
Mhm.
So crazy to think about that, but are most women I mean, anybody could be excited.
Yeah. I've definitely gotten a lot more reception from women. Every once in a while, I get a man that's like, "Oh my gosh, I know exactly what you're talking about. My wife is short or my wife has problems with this. Like, I hear about it all the time." So every once in a while, I get a man, and that's a very entertaining conversation. But the women are immediately like, I get like a 30-minute vent sesh every single time I talk about it, even just lightly.
Pulls the notebook out, literally discovery in the works.
Literally, I sit there and I just let them vent because it helps me.
Yeah.
Tell me about all your problems. I want to hear it. Just let me take some notes.
Yeah. Just will you sign an NDA? No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Every once in a while, actually, I'll be having a conversation in a public place, and I'll tell the other person about what I'm doing. And I'm a yinzer. I talk loud, so somebody from another table hears and comes over and talks to me. It's like, hey, I couldn't help but overhear that this is what you're doing, and I had to come over and talk to you.
Yeah.
And then I get another vent sesh about how clothing doesn't fit. So it's women feel it. They feel the problems. As soon as I tell them about it, they're like, oh, I know that.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's also really cool because especially touching on the part with like men, I'm thinking of, I mean, we love them, but they like gift last minute. If they could access like a resource like this that
Yep.
was like, hey, my wife already has her sizing through this company,
Yes.
and make sure the gift they got isn't she has to get it returned or she has to get it altered, or
Yeah.
especially some of those like talking back to the suits, like they're an investment.
Oh, yeah. 200%.
It's not cheap. That's why so much work goes into them. But when you're talking about like, okay, the inseam will be correct, the length will be correct. You don't have to sacrifice one for the other.
Yep.
The shoulders and the arms are all going to fit the way you want. Like that would be like a really nice heartfelt gift. If it was delivered to be wearable.
Absolutely. And it will be. And husbands will have the opportunity to do that for their wives or significant other or like whoever.
Yeah.
You'll be able to kind of add friends and be able to like, you can see when their last scan was updated. So if it is updated enough, then you can just click buy, you know?
Okay.
there's just so much opportunity around doing something like this. Even, like, people with disabilities will be able to really tailor garments to them, so it's way less struggle in the morning. There's just so much opportunity whenever you figure out how to use this data in this way. It's
Mhm.
so powerful.
Well, I'm even yeah, like, my mind's racing now because 'cause I'm thinking there's so many things you can do. It's not just obviously, you have your main goal, but, like, uniforming some of these, like, large, like, the arm like, it's so
Yeah.
many things, like, just to make them more tactical, better, even I'm thinking of, like, flight there's always that, like, one really short flight attendant. I'm like, "I know that skirt's too long," and you're just, like, so annoyed because you have to wear it, and
Yeah.
yeah, just that's so cool.
I actually just met somebody at Austin Tech Week. I spoke on a panel in Austin Tech Week, which was so much fun. But I met somebody who I was telling him about this, and he was like, "Actually, let me know when you're up and ready and you can do corporate because I have so many employees that are women, but they wear like a t-shirt and jeans, type of thing. It's a very casual uniform, but they need the uniform
Yeah.
and nothing fits them right. He couldn't find any resources to get what he was looking for in the right sizes for his female employees. And so he just opted out of it because he's like, "I'm not gonna pay all this money for it to just be uncomfortable on them." I was like, "Well, number 1, I respect that. Number 2, I'll keep you updated."
Yeah, you're like, "And you were in the book. I
Yeah.
will follow up." I love that. Tell us more about I mean, without giving anything away, tell us more about the experience that will happen. Like, for example, you have the event on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, how you're collecting this data and what it will be like when this gets to the level that it's gonna grow to.
Yeah.
Yeah, share, if you
Absolutely.
wouldn't mind.
Yeah, of course. So you'll, be able to scan a QR code, you sign up. For right now, you will put you put your full name, your contact information, and you'll put your size and your weight in. I have a couple of ideas on how we're going to make that even easier, so it's literally just your name and a contact,
Okay.
whether that's email or phone number. But for right now, that's kinda what we need. You complete the profile, and it gives you a QR code. When you're ready, and for the event in particular, you don't have to wait in line. If there's nobody there, you can just walk right in. You'll just basically show the QR code to an iPad. It'll walk you through the rest. 60 seconds later, you're out. And that's it.
Wow.
Literally as simple as that. You do have to dress down or you have to be wearing like black like leggings, something tight like athleisure. But it's no different than a fitting room. You
Yeah,
walk into a
absolutely.
fitting room, and it's a really wonderful atmosphere. Honestly, even more comfortable than a fitting room because there's scent, there's sound, there's really soft environments. There's a cute little bench. There's a hanger that you can put your clothing on, and I'll have little gifts on the way out. So I'll have scrunchies. I'll have things that you can grab in the booth and on your way out. And once you're out, you just click buy,
You're done.
and you're done, and that's it. Literally as simple as that.
Wow. Okay, so what is I know we're not, like, fully there yet, but then in going into production of whatever the garment would be,
Yes.
what are timelines like now, and what do you expect them to get to with the way technology's moving?
Yeah, so right now, it's, like, upwards of a month,
Okay.
um, just because one woman show,
Of
and it's
course.
also we're still actually iterating, and I was hoping to have, pre-orders available for this Saturday's event, but I realized I didn't want to continue building something arbitrarily. I
Mhm.
want the women's scans. I want to be able to build the whole pattern system based on them, and so I'll be able to offer it fairly quickly after that, but ultimately, um I just lost my train of
It's
thought.
okay, oh, you said a month. A month for a custom fitted garment that is gonna most likely look wonderful on you is I don't feel like a long waiting time, though.
No, and honestly, that's actually very long for me.
Okay.
I'm looking at 2 weeks.
Wow, okay, that's very attainable.
Yes.
Well, and we've all been in the situation where we ordered something online and waited till the day of to try it on, or it's ripped and we didn't know, those sort of things. So I don't think there's any source like we don't have the Amazon same day delivery for custom fitted anything.
No, yeah.
I don't think that is in the near future, but even 2 to 4 weeks, like I honestly thought you were gonna say a few months still.
Oh, no, definitely not. The tech tailoring system is meant to be in today's infrastructure, and so it's mass produced unfinished, and from there, once you press the order button, our technology does the rest.
That's so cool.
It's human-assisted robotics, it's human-assisted still today, and will grow with the technology, will grow into some of the elements that make it even more effective and efficient, but ultimately, we're using today as infrastructure. I just figured out a new pattern system and a way to operate the technology alongside that system.
Is there anything that you can't produce with this technology right now as far as the garment goes, or?
There's a few things, and like I said, it's iteration process. So
Course,
right
yeah.
now we're just doing a pant,
Okay.
and that's kind of our test run, if you will. That will allow us to work out the kinks, and once we have the traction from this event, we'll be able to really start iterating
Yeah.
through all of those. But once we kind of figure that out, it should be pretty consistent to be able to push it into any other garments. There's a lot more complexity when it comes to like blazers or
Yeah.
things like that. So that might take us a little more time to get to. But once we have that base foundation down, and it already is there, it just like to really get
More
that
of it.
safe layer of that base model, it's really easy to take it into other areas.
That's so cool.
Men's, children's, whatever, you know?
Yeah. What about what is the ultimate goal then? Is it everything that you're producing is like the Olive brand? Or is it that and
I love this question.
Okay.
I've been waiting for this question in all of the panels, anything that I've been doing. No,
Is this the
actually,
first time?
yes.
Oh, okay. I was not prompted to ask you, so yeah.
It's a marketplace, so we will always have Olive clothing.
Okay.
We will always have a core collection that is just Olive classics.
Cool.
But the goal is actually to be able to go to other brands and be like, you give us your designs, we'll produce it. As long as your customer has a scan with us, they'll be able to order any tech tailored clothing from any brand.
Wow.
And it's kind of our own collaborations that will be with each of these brands. You know, what I've been building for so long is it's additive. You know, somebody once asked me, "Are you trying to replace fast fashion?" No, that's impossible. There's no way that that would ever happen. But this is additive, and we can work alongside each other because it's offering two different clienteles, two different options.
Mm.
You know, maybe they're in a pinch, they're fine with fast fashion, or maybe they have a big interview and they really want it to fit well and they don't wanna put the effort in because they're already working so hard, you know? There's a way for both places to win. So, my Far North is truly like, we're a marketplace, and there's just tons of opportunity at that point too.
Yeah, I mean, the collaboration is endless.
Mhm.
I always think of fashion. I just watched a video clip of this because Mike Tomlin, the Steelers coach, his wife has a boutique in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I know you know that. But how she does the Tomlinism t-shirts, and they're like one of
Mhm.
her biggest sellers. But just thinking about like even uniforms,
Yeah.
like hockey padding, like it could all be better.
Yeah.
And honestly, no offense to whoever's designing all those, some of them are really ugly.
Yeah.
So,
Steelers.
yeah, like some of them are
Sorry.
really bad. Sorry, all those big brands that win those, but like
But there is truly a way that we can, like, even take like, once we see that data, like, making the padding a little bit more form-fitted to who they are. You know, some
it'd
of
be more
the
functional for
exactly,
the
be more
sport.
safer
Yeah,
in those sports,
that's
you know?
awesome.
Those wearables are only as effective as they are fitted. So, whenever you have any kind of padding or I think often about firefighters, you know? Just the amount of things that they have on them. How can we use our technology to make it a little bit more form fitted, a little bit more comfortable for them to operate in and be more it's a tough job,
Yeah,
So
safe
the last
and
thing that I would want is their clothing to get in the way,
yeah.
especially as a protective item. It's literally saving their life.
Oh yeah, as far as PPE goes, this is also
Exactly.
wow. That's I didn't spot it. I'm sure you thought of all the things, but not even one that I would have. Yeah, there's so many jobs that involve specialty uniforms and
Mhm.
equipment and fitted items
Yeah.
that you're going to like some tailor to get it
Mhm.
when they're ready to retire, and
Yeah.
it's
Data's powerful, and I'll say data is useless unless you figure out how to use it.
and
And
you're
I
doing
think
that.
yeah, and I truly believe that, like, I figured it out.
You're like, "I'm doing it."
It's not perfect yet, there's a lot of work to do, but I figured out that base model where that data is actually effective and can be utilized in the form that we're looking at, without saying too much.
Well, and I yeah, we're not distilling all of the intellectual property here, you know? But I know you've also like you said, you have a lot of support community. You've gone through programs to help build this. Um, those have all added to, like, the different iterations and the changes that are
Mhm.
do you have more of that coming next year? Are you in any
Hopefully.
more? Okay. Not lined up, but more coming.
Not quite yet, but there's a few applications that, are the deadline is right after the event.
Okay.
And this event is going to be giving us a lot of core traction that those that I've been speaking to in these areas and these programs, investors, things like that, when they tell me this is what I'm looking for, this is what it will take to invest in you.
A lot more.
I've basically mapped that all out. So this event will basically prove all of that,
That's awesome.
or disprove. Hopefully prove.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I was gonna say, I know from the times we've spoken, you get a lot of people telling you that it's not worth the time, the effort. You're up against a monster that can't be beaten, and you're still doing it. How does it feel to you? I mean, really, as a human, not even just a founder, when someone's like, "Cool idea, not gonna work."
it used to get to me a lot more.
Okay.
The further I've gone, the closer I've gotten to the solution, and once I finally did figure out, like, it was I had a huge breakthrough a couple months ago, and when I finally hit that breakthrough, I actually had a meeting shortly after that, that tested that, and I ended up kinda just sitting there like, "Have your opinion.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm realizing that, like, this isn't gonna be a great relationship for us, we're not gonna be helpful for each other, you're trying to put me down this entire meeting. It's not gonna work. It's fine." There's no bad blood, but at the same time, like, innovation doesn't happen from being normal. Innovation doesn't happen from thinking like everybody else. So, if/when this works, it's because I'm continuously iterating, I'm continuously listening to what's working, what's not, and I'm pushing forward regardless what those people say. And so, honestly, it just
Yeah.
it's over my head at this point. I gotta keep moving, and the only thing that will have me stop is not those people's opinions. It'll be customers being like, "Yeah, this sucks," or "It doesn't work.
It's not good enough.
It's not good
Yeah.
enough," you know?
Do you have any, like, direct competitors right now?
There's a few competitors, not necessarily direct from what I can see,
Okay.
just because my system it's all manufacturing. I'm positioning this to everybody else as, we're a fashion company because it's important that I position myself as a fashion company, but in true, it's a manufacturing system,
That's awesome.
what I've created. Um, and so the competitors that I do have, they're either utilizing some layer of the technology, but they're still utilizing traditional manufacturing, and so they're all altering after the garment's already made for the
Mm.
consumer, which jacks up the price. Ours is actually being altered before it's ever finished. So
More cost effective.
exactly.
So, I'm obviously, we were talking about fast fashion. This isn't gonna be the same pricing as going into some of those,
Oh, no.
but we're talking about also not being in, like, designer pricing of, like, Mary-Kate and
It's what we
Ashley's,
call
Barreau.
contemporary.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's, like, more contemporary pricing, so it's a little bit above, like H&M and those types of stores, but it's not quite at, like, Louis Vuitton.
Okay. So,
You can
a nice
imagine
middle
maybe like a
ground.
Nordstrom price,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah. But you're getting this quality item. What about the way, because 'cause you're using infrastructure that's already built in
Yeah.
fashion, which has been around for a long time, so very smart move there, not reinventing the wheel. Um, what kind of, are there products you don't wanna work with? Like, are there things that, like, matter to you when sourcing in the you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
materials-wise, like, or you're like, "No, we're not doing that."
So I definitely in terms of material, I've met some wonderful founders who have been really, really recreating the wheel
Oh.
with how we produce textiles, particularly like, I mean, fashion is actually up there in like with aviation in terms of like how damaging it is
Yeah.
to the environment. So I've met some really wonderful founders who are creating systems that are taking polyesters and recreating a whole new um fabric out of it. So I really wanna be able to utilize some of those sources. I'm not talking well on it right now just because it's a little far off. My mind's here.
You're not.
But I definitely, that's on my game plan in terms of being able to utilize other fashion tech companies that are doing amazing things for our industry. Because like, I've built this to be circular so that everybody can kinda have a play in this,
That's
you know?
awesome.
If there's a technology that pops up that seems like it can fit within our system, let's use it,
Yeah, let's see what we can do.
you know? We all can win.
Yeah, there's enough pie for everyone.
Exactly.
Um, when you've been working on this, obviously the technology is a huge part. Um, being a founder in a one-woman show is a whole 'nother thing. What sort of collaboration with other people or some of the programs have you been in, have you found the most beneficial to you as a one-woman show founder? Like, what sort of support around you has helped get you to where you are now? Other than, love, family, and good wishes?
Honestly, not even that. Definitely not, to be completely
Okay,
honest.
all right.
No hate on them, but this is not an easy thing to understand. It's not an easy mindset to match. And so whenever I finally started finding my way into entrepreneurship groups and environments where there's many other ambitious women or entrepreneurs or people just doing crazy shit.
Mhm.
Oh, can I swear?
You can We will clip that. Yeah.
Um, but it wasn't until I found those groups and those environments that really started to change how I was not only talking to myself, but how I was starting to see things and how I build this. Like as many programs or as many classes as one might take, there is nothing as powerful as having somebody who can be a soundboard for you, but give it back, you
Yeah.
know, and start asking the same questions in a similar manner that your brain understands. I've been working with Ben with Rivers Agile for almost 2 years, and he has been amazing at doing that. I'll say something and he'll kind of press it and be like, well, what about this? Or what about that? And it just kind of helps push your brain in different ways so that you're not getting like tunnel vision on just what you think is important, because what you as a founder think is not always it's not always the most accurate,
Not
you
gonna
know?
keep you as a
Yes,
business open and
exactly.
yeah.
There's just so many ways to do things, but when you find people that can kind of push that standard and push that thought process for you, that is so helpful. So whenever I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs are always going to a meeting or a meetup or like meeting with other entrepreneurs, that's why. Having those conversations in a safe environment and being able to say, well, I feel a little crazy, but here we are.
This is what we're doing.
Exactly.
Love that. Oh, good. That's good. Well, Pittsburgh has a pretty bustling startup system,
Oh, yeah.
ecosystem,
Oh,
and
yeah.
things are always happening. So, you know a lot of other local founders, and we both know Charles
Yes.
Mansfield III. Um, he was recently on and was talking about some of the issues with funding our startups here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Has that also been because you're in already a very hard industry of fashion, which, there's the big names and then the few that somehow make it, which is what we're seeing happen right now. But how how has been like talking to VCUs or
Interesting.
okay. And let me just add one. Do you have better luck when they're not local?
Yes.
Okay.
Um, I have met some really wonderful founders in particular that have the right doors to the right places for my type of business.
Okay.
So I'm really lucky with that. And so when I am ready, they're kind of in my corner. However, the local VCs and the VCs I've met in New York while I travel up there, they are really wonderful. However, being a fashion business in Pittsburgh is definitely challenging in that route. Just because it doesn't, like I said, when you find the right people who know how to press you or know how to kind of challenge your thinking, that doesn't happen for me with the VCs here. They
Okay.
press me in other ways. They press me with tech. They know how to challenge me in certain ways, but it's been tough because trying to find that outlet on the fashion side of it and understand a little bit more about where to take it, because I am still a fashion business. That's been really tough. One of the first interactions I had with a couple of angels, actually, they asked me, "Am I fashion or am I tech?" I'm like, "Well, is Uber a taxi company or are they a tech company? Like, what kind of innovation doesn't have the innovation doesn't ask those questions. Tech is
And
just tech.
you
It
can be
it
both.
floods into whatever industry that you find that opportunity for innovation. And I didn't have a good answer to it at the time,
But now going
but
yeah,
now it's
listen
much
to this.
different. But it's also like we live in a conservative area. It's not as bad as some other areas in terms of VC, but we definitely need to hike up our kind of opportunity pool. Just recognize how many incredible people are in the city and how many incredible companies are coming out of the city and start to really fuel it.
Keep them here.
Keep them here.
Yeah, let's not
Yeah.
be headquartered on the West Coast
I
again.
fully intend to keep my headquarters here.
Oh,
Pittsburgh's an amazing city, and honestly, when it's a manufacturing system, I will have a global presence.
yeah, she will.
She will. But the home is always gonna be here in Pittsburgh. I'm born and raised here, it only makes sense.
Yeah. the roots. Plus, like you said, the manufacturing, that stuff's all,
It's Pittsburgh.
we build it.
Yeah.
You gotta use, I love that. Oh, gosh. Well, thank you for being honest about that. I feel like that question sometimes is a little off-putting because you obviously don't want to put a bad taste in anybody's mouth that you're trying to get funding from. But also, I think we need more awareness about there are great things happening here and they don't have to leave.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
don't have to leave.
Yeah.
Like,
And Charles has a really wonderful perspective on all of that.
oh, yeah.
And it's tough. I understand, like, it being in the Midwest, you know, we all want to keep our comfort zones,
Mhm.
right? Especially when you're investing in
Yeah, high risk.
high risk
Yeah.
environments. Totally understand that. But at some point it does come to trust that I'm the expert. Get to know me
Mhm.
and trust that I'm the expert. And I have a few like VCs and angels that I've spoken with that they stay in touch with me for that reason. I'm not 200% in on this idea because I invest over here, but like I really love what you're doing as a whole. So let me stay in touch. Let me help you in whatever way I can. Even that is amazing. And I've had a number of people like that in the area, but yeah, the conversations always just look a little different. Most of them love the tech. They're all
course.
real excited about the tech, but then they just don't really understand the fashion side.
Yeah. That's so funny. And this might be a bold statement to make. I think we're in 2025, the way things are moving, artificial intelligence, all the other automation, like all the things you work in. Every company kind of has to be a tech company
Kinda.
to some extent, or you're going to get left behind.
Yes.
Because like you said, you need the data and you need to know what to do with it.
Yes.
Um,
I don't think that's bold at all. If it is bold, it's needed. Somebody needs to hear it.
we need to, yeah, because, oh gosh, some of the things we collect data on just for it to sit in a,
And it just sits. Yeah. Why collect it if you don't know how to use it?
yeah, like what are we doing?
Yeah.
If you could go back, let's say 2016, 2017, would you give yourself any advice from you sitting here today about the journey you're going to go on with Olive?
Honestly, no.
No? Okay.
Everything happens for a reason. I trust my path. I trust my gut. The amount of times that I even just say out loud, I need XYZ, and then it just gives it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I very much trust that everything happens for a reason. And if there was a piece of advice, it'd just be keep going. Like,
You're going to get
don't
there.
lose yourself. You'll get there.
Yeah.
And like stay focused. Those are the only pieces. But like I wouldn't say do XYZ, We
Yeah,
are who we
there's-
are. There's only one opportunity to grow,
It's such a positive outlook on this. I love it.
I try.
After being beaten down for so long with all the challenges, which is good.
It's the women that fuel me.
Yeah, I'm really excited for your event that's coming up.
Yeah.
This will definitely come out after that, but it's okay. We can let people know it's coming. Do you have any big, exciting plans for 2026 that are shareable right now?
Not quite.
Okay, that's all right.
There's a number of things in the works. Nothing that I'm confident enough to announce just yet.
It's okay. Are you
Particularly because once I get through the event, I'll have a lot more clarity on what's next.
makes sense?
Yeah.
Are you doing any more fun speaking engagements, like how you were at
Hopefully,
Austin?
yeah. I have a couple of different leads that are interested in just collaborating with me, or that have asked to interview at some point. But truthfully, a lot of it's been like, okay, I would love to. We need to talk after my other notes. I need to get through this.
Catch me in November.
Catch me sometime in November. We'll talk a little bit more.
Second half, mostly December. We'll circle back in Q1.
Yeah.
We'll circle back.
Yeah.
We're just about at that time of the year. Like
For
Thanksgiving
sure.
happens and okay, circle back February 2026.
Yep.
We're like, sure, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Exciting.
If there's one thing that I would say for people to look out for in 2026, just stay in touch with the social media. Stay in touch with supporting this goal. Because this is community effort. This is as much as I am kind of a one-woman show, this is a community effort. There's so many women that are coming up to bat for this because they're like, I want this.
I want to do.
And there might be a few other times where I'm like, hey, I need some more community input. I need more women in the scanner. I need testers. I need somebody to come and look at this. So just keep in touch.
What is the best way for everyone to LinkedIn? Like what's your preferred? All you where?
Instagram.
Instagram? Okay.
LinkedIn's good too. I'm a little bit bad with LinkedIn. Sorry to like the 30 messages that I need to get back to right now.
Okay.
But LinkedIn, Instagram, yeah,
stay up to date, which is awesome. Well, good. This was so fun.
Yes.
Had a good time. Well, we're coming to the end of our time here, so I always ask everyone so that I don't leave anything on the table. Is there anything else you want to share about yourself, Olive, right now, or your journey?
I think I'll just kind of to wrap this whole conversation up. I've had so much fun talking about it with you. Um, there's still so much work to be done. I am thrilled that I finally found that base layer, but I recognize that, to continue building this, it's alongside every single woman that has this problem.
Mhm.
So like I said, this is just the beginning. This is the platform. This is the jumping off form that is really just it's the pathway to the rest of the future of fashion.
Amazing. Perfect. Well, thank you again for coming on. We're gonna say goodbye now, and we'll probably have to plan for this to come out so you can maybe have, like, some event pictures
Yeah.
out, and we could put it on the post and stuff, but, thank you for being on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Bye, everybody.
If today's conversation sparked something in you, connect with us on social media. This podcast is brought to you by Transform Labs. We bring enterprise-grade technology, strategy, and execution to your company. From AI implementation to fractional leadership, we help you turn ambition into impact. Until next time, remember, your next chapter might be your best one yet. I'm Brooke Addis, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.